When something like this happens, you are intimately involved, not just from a corporate point of view, but for us personally as human beings.
You feel hugely exposed, it's extraordinary, and you shouldn't feel so bad about it because it's grief.
For a lot of people, getting back to the normality of what they did is the lifesaver. They just need to be supported.
Shona McCairkin was the child development team leader working with children aged 3 to 5. One day she came in and just said, "Kate, I have to tell you, they have discovered hot spots on my spine, but I'm sure it's nothing." Shona never acknowledged, never said the words, "I have terminal cancer." Every single day she came in with the same smile on her face and the same attitude.
There are a number of clients we've helped have been diagnosed at the outset with terminal cancer, and they want to remain at work. And legally, there's no reason why they shouldn't remain at work. I think the starting point is the employee should communicate with the employer and tell them what the situation is. If they do that, the employer can then consider, can they make reasonable adjustments to keep their valued employee at work? Thinking about some of the clients we've helped, it wasn't the cancer that was preventing them from working, it was maybe fatigue, which the employer could accommodate quite easily. It may be that the employer could then work with occupational health or the GP to say, we want to keep our valued employee at work, but we might need some guidance and support to make sure that we are looking after them and not exacerbating the condition that the employee has.
Shona wanted everything to be kept normal. She wouldn't tolerate duties being taken away from her. So all we could do was to speak to staff and make sure that they understood that Shona had limitations now. Although she didn't want to talk about it, but they would have to do as much as they could to support her, to take on certain tasks so that she never felt things were being taken away from her, that her role was being eroded in any sense.
Lincoln joined us as a graduate recruit. 3 or 4 months after he'd started working for us, he was sadly diagnosed with bone cancer. I think the thing that particularly upset me was he was so young. He was only 22, it was his first job after leaving university, and it just seemed awful for this to happen to him at that stage in his life. Throughout his illness, we always kept Lincoln's job open for him. He came back into the office a couple of times for visits. I think it helped everyone to sort of see him, but the last time he came in was about 2 months before he died, and at that stage he looked very, very thin, he was very, very tired, and it was clear that he was very seriously ill, and I think that really was quite upsetting.
Shona called in one morning because she physically couldn't get out of bed. It was agreed that Shona would phone us every 4 days just to keep in touch. The next 4 days she didn't call, so we made a decision to go and pay her a visit. The vicar told me that Shona had passed away, and it was totally unexpected. We did not, we were shocked, we were crying. We were like, what do we do now? What do we do?
How managers can support their employees at work when one of their colleagues has died is a difficult situation. They're having to manage other colleagues, cope with the loss of their colleague, when really they're probably trying to cope with the loss themselves. So I think it's always better, to talk about things. The unmentionable is unmanageable.
When we returned, I wasn't sure how everyone was going to feel, so I thought it would be helpful if we had some time together, and I made a decision to get a nice candle, lit the candle, put it in the middle of the table, and I said a few words about Shona, just to acknowledge how we were feeling, and we just sat quietly together. Staff had been worried about children coming back, and if they ask questions, what will we say? Nobody tells you what's the best way to deal with this. So I made the decision that we could tell parents, certainly, but it may be better if parents themselves were able to talk to their children. It was up to them how they deal with death and bereavement in their own way. But because we had the 6-week break, and children are very resilient, they came back, they skipped in the door, they seen familiar faces, and they got on with it. and that helped us.
When a manager needs to contact the family of someone who's died, it's being aware of the sensitivity of the situation. The biggest pitfalls that managers and colleagues might fall into in going to someone's house is they're so desperate not to sit with a silence. They come up with, well, he was insured, well, you'll get this, well, you'll be all right financially. You know, they'd give up every penny of the finance. They don't want to hear that. It's better just to go there and listen to the family, because the family will be wanting to talk to you.
After the practical issues had been resolved and so on, Lincoln's brother asked if he could come and visit the office and bring his mother as well, because firstly he wanted to say thank you to us as a company for supporting his Lincoln, but also I felt that he wanted to actually have a connection with the place where Lincoln had worked.
My sister Lizzie died from pancreatic cancer just over 2 years ago. On the day that Lizzie passed away, I contacted work colleagues and, my boss needing to do so. I did that just by text. I couldn't really trust myself to talk to people. The funeral happened, I think it was the Friday week after that. And then after people had gone on the Saturday, I think Monday, work. I thought, oh, now what do we do? You really are striving to get back. But at that point, you've got to try and be so damn kind to yourself as well, because you've got to, it might be that you just need another day, or sometimes it's like you need an hour away from something just to feel that you can breathe again.
The problem can sometimes be just once they get back into the workplace, they realise actually they need a little bit of time, graduated, return to work to be able to do the job.
Unfortunately, there's lots of companies think once you've gotten over that 2 weeks of staged return, that's it, they're embedded back into work and everything will be okay. And that's not really true. They need to be treated as normal as possible, but they need to be very much aware that there's help there if they feel as though they're getting a little bit out of their depth with work.
It wasn't too long after Lizzie passed away that I had first the reviews of the year and found I was marked down. But I actually felt I'd overachieved because I'd managed to cope with all of that situation and still achieved everything that needed achieving at work and hadn't missed any deadlines or anything. I lost loyalty to the company for the first time ever because I felt I hadn't been looked after. I thought, well, crikey, how am I going to have that feeling again towards you, the company?
Bereavement affects everyone differently. A lot of people struggle in the workplace because one of the first things that go when you're grieving is your concentration. And, they think they were excellent at their job before, but they're not now. They think it reflects badly on them. So on top of the stress of the grief, they have the stress of probably thinking they can't do the job they did before. But the manager could recognise that they need someone to talk to, someone that's not involved in their family, that's not involved in their working life, so that they can deal with these thoughts and emotions. I'm visiting a couple at the minute. The husband is having a dreadful time because he isn't getting the support at work. Nobody says anything, nobody acknowledges that his child's died. His wife is going to work now and has been very well supported. She's very much aware where she can go if she gets distressed, and this has all been spelled out to her. Just walk out, at first someone won't follow you, but then we will. They're really good to her, and I would like to think that all employers would sort of take this attitude to their workforce.
The team wanted to make sure that Shona wasn't forgotten, and we decided that we would do some fundraising. Everyone became involved, the community, parents, staff, children. There were lots of laughter, there was lots of tears. Everybody put money in a bucket, and when we counted up our money, we had raised over £1,300 for Macmillan. So we hope every year to be doing something special in memory of Shona.